Hey podcaster, I'm Tim Wahlberg, your podcast performance coach, with another actionable tip so you can grow your authority and convert with ease. Today's tip is demand more from your podcast description. Remember way back when you started your podcast and you wrote your description? It was a crazy time, wasn't it? You were launching your podcast. Everything was new, and let's face it, there was a little bit of winging it going on. The good news is you've gotten better as a podcaster, and your show has evolved. So why are you still using that old description? I think it's starting to smell. Is that mold? In this episode, I'm going to explain why you should take another look at your description, and I'm even going to share with you 5 must-have elements of a powerful podcast description. For a lot of podcasters, the description is something they think of once, right at the beginning of their journey, and then they never revisit it. As a result, their podcast description could be doing more harm than good. Yes, a badly written description can hurt your podcast. Think about it. Your description is often how people decide if they're going to hit play and give you a few seconds to prove yourself as worthy of their time. And the power of the podcast description doesn't end there. Your description also plays an important role in whether you get found by your intended audience or not. So, here are 3 reasons why you should revisit and possibly rewrite your podcast description. Number 1, discoverability, aka SEO. Your podcast is probably listed on a number of platforms and even on podcast directories. Each of these places serve as search engines. A listener looking for a new show is going to put in a few keywords to find what they're looking for. Does your description have the right keywords to make sure that they find you? Make sure you're not hiding. Number 2, tell the truth. If you've been podcasting for more than a minute, chances are your podcast has shifted. You may have niched down, or maybe you've shifted the podcast style or purpose. It happens. Sometimes it's gradual, and your description needs to reflect this. Otherwise, it's like a bait and switch. Your description is a promise to the potential listener. You're saying, if you press play, I promise you will get XYZ content. If your show no longer fulfills that promise, then every listener who presses play may be disappointed and will likely never press play again. If you've had a gradual or sudden shift, your description has to reflect this. And the number 3 reason why you should revisit your show description is to shift the spotlight. I talk to a lot of podcasters in my free 15-minute coaching calls, and almost every single one describes their podcast by explaining what the show is. It's an interview show with interesting conversations, talks with industry leaders, and I share my insights over 20 years of business. If your description sounds like this, I have a newsflash for you. You've gotten the spotlight on the wrong person. Your show is not about you or your guests. It is about what your listener needs and what they will get out of it. Rewriting your description will give you the opportunity to tell your listener why they should listen, not why you created it. Okay, so now we're clear on the importance and power of rewriting your podcast description. Let me give you my super quick outline of what should be in your podcast description. Let's keep it simple. Your podcast description must-haves are the 5 W's. Who is the podcast for? What's in it for the listener? How will they benefit? Why are you the person to share this information? When does the podcast come out? And where can they find more information? Now, these aren't all equal weight, but keep the last 3 questions short. At this point, they should already be sold and hitting play. Hitting play is the goal here, because I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here and say that once they do hit play, that they'll be hooked because your content is amazing, right? You've worked really hard to create your podcast, and the last thing you need to do is to get a potential listener on the line who discovers that the bait wasn't nearly as tasty as it looked. And I hope that's just the tip you need. Now, if you need help making your podcast description something worthy of a podcast rewrite, take advantage of my free 15-minute coaching session. We'll talk about your podcast, your goals, and then I'll slap some sense into you and make your podcast even better. Hey, I'm telling you, that's just how I work. I do it virtually, so it's painless. To book your free 15-minute coaching call, click the link in the show notes or go to podcastperformancecoach.com. I'm Tim Wolberg. See